Myth number 2 is that Pedro Pascal is a serious box office draw.
Gay!
Okay, I said we're gonna put the chair away because I'm feeling super sleepy today. So, the chair's over there, we're gonna stand. Hello, hi! If you haven't already watched one of my streams, then what are you doing? I've been streaming for like almost 4 years now, 4 days a week. Now, 4 days a week. So make sure you check out my YouTube and my Twitch. Those links are down below where I live stream and I play games. Yeah, also my Patreon has more content on there that I don't post here. They just put his whole face! Today I'm going to be reacting to Critical Drinker. So what now, Marvel?
Said before that 2025 was going to go down as the make or break year, not just for Marvel and DC, but for superhero movies in general. The MCU desperately needed to get back on track after years of embarrassing flops and underperformers, while James Gunn had the challenge of rebooting and relaunching the entire DC universe on film. On the Marvel front, things didn't get off to a great start, that's for sure. Brave New World turned out to be a bloated, chopped up, embarrassing mess that flopped harder than a fat influencer on a high diving boards.
Why do you say that? Oh, okay. Gosh, some of the newer content from Marvel is a bit hard to speak on. I've already said before, kind of calling myself out on, it's a bit difficult to speak on details in my own opinion because I have actually myself skipped over a lot of those movies. Watched a few of the ones trickled off after Endgame that progressively just seemed to get worse and not make as much money as the ones before that, of course, where a lot of people signify as the moment that Marvel just kind of ended was with Endgame. Or Infinity War, but around there. And that's basically the last time. I haven't really given She-Hulk a chance. I really wanted to. Look, I've seen the clips, I'm not interested.
Thunderbolts got a slightly better reception from fans, although fuck knows why, but still failed to make any impact at the box office. That left Fantastic Four to redeem a pretty disastrous year for the franchise. And well...
Okay, I think I've seen it before, but he was in the movie? That caption. This could be bad news for MCU's future. Now? Now it could be bad news? Also, haven't they redone the Fantastic Four movies like 4 times? Oh, I'm sorry, only 3. They're aiming for 4, clearly, at this rate. Haven't seen any of them. I think I've seen part of 1, and I couldn't tell you which one it was, because it was one of the first 2, possibly. Don't remember thinking that it was bad, but can't really have much of an opinion if it's been so long, and I didn't watch the whole thing. Maybe it's not fair to say it seems like something that didn't really need to be done. Definitely wasn't one of those movies that people spoke about, like Iron Man or Captain America, and, you know, if people felt like it wasn't really done great, you should redo it and do it better. Do it with them in a universe that's more familiar. Maybe similar to Spider-Man. Sure, he's been redone 3 times, but now that Marvel could actually introduce him to their universe, because Disney owns it, kind of, you should redo it. They even skipped the origin story because it's like, look, we've made them watch this 2 different times. We'll just have Spider-Man again so he can interact with all of the other Marvel characters, but we'll skip that part. That way people don't have to watch it for a 3rd time. So it was good balance. It was really good movies. I like Spider-Man.
Fantastic Four is a fucking flop, just like all the other Marvel movies that have come out this year. Which was interesting because it was actually pretty well received by fans and critics. Damn man, even I enjoyed it and gave it a half decent review. It had a reasonably good opening weekend and solid word of mouth, so why did it fall off harder than Rachel Zegler's career? Well, dear viewer, Dr. Drinker is here with a big old batch of truth pills. They're gonna be bitter and hard to swallow, but just like I tell Tatiana, you'd better swallow them and keep them down or it's another 3 days in the hole for you. So, like, you're gonna edit that out later, right? Okay, cool.
Ah, I know what that's seeing later. Like, oh yeah, edit this. Don't put that in there, and then it's in there. It's nice to hear whenever he does speak on. Even I gave it a half decent review because it shows that someone's not just being bitter or hates everything about something that's being redone. This one really wasn't that bad. It had a lot of decent moments. They were kind of going in a decent direction. Maybe the writing's even a little bit better. Maybe the actors could actually act. Maybe certain things were believable. When you're speaking about superhero movies, calm down. In that universe, I guess so far as to maybe one reason why it's not doing great is I haven't actually heard this said or anything, but might go into Pedro Pascal personally. Uh, if this person's being shoved down everybody's throat, he just seems to have blown up where he's everywhere now. Everyone wants to talk about him. He's shoved into everything. He's an amazing actor. I'm like, wait, really? I mean, he's probably been in more things. I know I live under a rock and I don't watch a lot of new media. But, like, is he? Because he's like the number one person here about male actor.
Anyway, I think the failure of Fantastic Four has been pretty useful in some ways because it's dispelled a few myths that people have been clinging onto for way too long now. Myth number one is that Marvel is ever going to come back, that all it'll take is the right movie at the right time to catapult the franchise back to the glory days of the 2010s.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Well, here's a reality check for you. That is never gonna happen. Yeah, they might still get the occasional hit, and they'll always have a core fan base they can rely on, but the days of billion-dollar movies being practically normal are long gone, and they're not coming back. 500 million is rapidly becoming the number that most people are talking about, which would be fine if movie budgets actually reflected that reality. But with $2 or even $300 million on production alone still being standard practice, well, the numbers just don't add up, and no amount of positive spin is going to change that. So why the hell did this happen?
If you're going to take a movie that's as popular and well known as Fantastic Four, and it's been done but maybe not the best, so you do have a lot to work with where you could make it better. But even this movie kind of sort of doesn't do as well as you would think that it could have done. Not anywhere how well it used to do in the past. Then there's probably not another iconic group of superhero movies that you can redo that's already going to bring in its own audience and its own pool of interest that's going to do as well. And so if you can't even make that happen with this movie, you're probably not going to make it happen with Black Widow's predecessor. Most of the iconic names and groups have been used up. So unless you were to do something which would not be suggested, wait a very long time and remake a movie not like Iron Man, but as iconic as the name, more iconic than all of these replacement superheroes you have, then yeah, like he said, maybe they'll get a little bit of a hit, maybe they'll get success and make profits, but the investment and the risk that they're at right now is a lot of their movies don't really do that great or as good as they want them to do. They take so much more money than even seems real. And then every one of a few of them will get a few million payback. That just sounds really risky and not worth it.
So why the hell did this happen? Well, partly because Marvel is a damaged brand by now. Their fan base has gradually been driven away by half a decade of mediocre movies and shitty TV shows, preachy and divisive identity politics, formulaic storytelling, dated humour, and sheer media oversaturation. They got too successful, too complacent, and too lazy, and they fell into the trap of thinking that they could just keep expanding forever.
Sheer hubris. Fucking hubris.
It really is hard to miss something that never fucking goes away, and it's even harder to get excited about it when it's basically the same experience every single time, only with different coloured spandex. Even a good Marvel movie at this point is like middle-aged sex in a stale marriage, less about the excitement and novelty of exploring new possibilities, and more about going through a series of familiar steps to reach the same predictable outcome.
Well, that's a crazy way of explaining it. Yikes. What? Yeah, it's like, it's weaponizing and holding you hostage for the nostalgic feeling that you might get from one of these movies. Oh my gosh, Easter egg. Oh my gosh, they made a reference. Oh my gosh, I loved that 10 years ago. Like, if you have to watch a whole movie to just get those few hits of whatever you want to call it, nostalgia, well then, yeah, it is being heavily milked.
Myth number 2 is that Pedro Pascal is a serious box office draw. Like, can we all just accept at this point that this guy isn't really gonna happen? And all the fun and media coverage and red carpet appearances in the world aren't gonna change that. Like so many other people, I've been trying to figure out why Hollywood's been pushing this increasingly insufferable, borderline creepy 50-year-old weirdo so hard, like he's this hot young talent taking the industry by storm, and by George, I think I've got it. For whatever reason, Disney have made him a cornerstone of not one but two of their biggest franchises, Star Wars and Marvel. They've pinned a lot of their hopes on this guy. They desperately need him to be a star, so they've marshaled the entire Hollywood media machine behind him to try to make him a star. The problem is, well, he isn't, and he never really has been. He's a character actor at best, solid and talented for sure, but hardly spectacular, and gassed up way beyond his league by insane overexposure.
I should pause so we're not just like letting a whole thing go. But yes, this may be a little bit of what I said earlier. The overexposure can kill things because, like it was also said, it's hard to miss something whenever it's always around. Maybe if Marvel movies kind of just learned that and thought, people don't really appreciate a lot of these characters taking the place of characters that they loved, that they just watched die, being thrown in with sloppier writing and less effects somehow that cost more money, then maybe we should disappear for 5 years. Like, let people miss and remember us for the best of our movies, go out with a bang, go out being remembered really well, and the people would have just asked for these movies to come back. And maybe behind the scenes, if you took a lot more time to write and you were trying to come out with these movies at this great pace, then it just would have been better. You have to miss something if it's at its best. But with him, I guess he couldn't have been missed because he was never necessarily at his peak and then disappeared, and now he's being shoved on us again. He did Game of Thrones, and then what else? Now he's just like the biggest thing. So, yeah, if you're seeing him everywhere all the time, it's almost as if people are going to be kind of fatigued with, he's just in everything now. He represents that superhero. He's the face of that. He's the face of the show. He's the best thing in this show. He's also in the Star Wars.
He doesn't have the charisma, the magnetism, the screen presence, or even the looks to be a top-level draw, and he's too old to grow into the role now. 50 is normally the point where most actors' careers start to decline as middle age kicks in and the next generation of talent moves up to replace them. I don't really know why people expect his career to do the opposite, but somehow they do. Also, the meme of him being in fucking everything feels like it's evolved from a bit of niche good-natured ribbon on social media to actual widespread irritation now, proving the point that familiarity really does breed contempt. Myth number 3 is that superhero fatigue isn't a thing. Bad movie fatigue is.
Really?
Nope, superhero fatigue is absolutely a thing, and it's about time people accepted that.
Yeah, both can be true. Bad movie fatigue, of course. Everything feels like it's copy and pasted. But also superhero movies, of course. People say that all the time specifically. I'm just not into superhero stuff. There's superhero shows, there's comics. We already had it in comics. Now every single movie has to be aimed at superheroes. Even different companies will have different angles of superheroes. We have animations, we have Marvels, we have live action. Then we also have like darker live action, like, what is it? Good Boys? Bad Boys? The Boys. Sorry, Invincible. I mean, honestly, I wish that there was a lot more put into editing maybe in this spot, so I could just say all around me.
How about no, Scott, okay?
Superhero stuff, people are over it. Even the people who really like it. I mean, maybe at this point you've watched so much of it, you're kind of thinking, the best can't be recreated, so you're not really looking.
Movie genres rise and fall like the sun. Nothing stays popular and relevant forever, and after a quarter of a century of domination, the sun is well and truly setting on superheroes now. And by that, I don't mean they're ever gonna die out and disappear completely. Just like the comics that inspired them, there's always gonna be a core audience wanting more. What I mean is that general audiences, the people who bring in the bulk of the box office revenue, have lost interest and moved on to other things now. Superheroes aren't cool or compelling anymore. Yeah, the decline in quality and the saturation of the market definitely speeded the process up, but the truth is, it was gonna happen eventually no matter what. Even James Gunn's Superman by James Gunn, the biggest and most iconic superhero of them all, is struggling to make much headway at the box office. The tentpole movie designed to kick off a whole new cinematic universe, arguably a day late and $1 short, is currently sitting at $550 million a month after release. At this rate, it's gonna struggle to even hit $600 million. That's not just a disappointment, that's a fucking disaster. DC wheeled out the biggest gun in their arsenal for this one. See what I did there? And it barely made a dent. I mean, what kind of numbers do you think Supergirl, or Clayface, or Swamp Thing are gonna do if even fucking Superman can't draw big crowds?
Yes, that was kind of the point earlier, is if you're going to release Fantastic Four and even that is only really successful for a week and immediately starts declining, it's not necessarily that the movie's bad or that they did anything wrong. Lots of people probably enjoyed it. Even Critical Drinker said that it was half good. I've heard people in my chat, I live stream by the way, go check out my links. Oh, if it's clipped out of context, it's fine. A bunch of people will click on it and say a bunch of really mean things, but then they'll join and try to trash talk me, and it's like, ha, you're trapped here now. Say that, oh, it was actually a decent movie. That's not necessarily the problem. If you have to watch 3 or 4 of them for this one to finally be one of the ones that's like, hey, they did a good job on this one, I think that people are kind of just already over it. So even if people hear, wow, this movie was good, unfortunately, a lot of people have already had their hopes kind of dropped whenever they were trying to watch some of the ones a few years ago trickle off, that people just lost interest.
The harsh reality is that the cultural zeitgeist has shifted now, the audience has matured and changed, and they've left superheroes behind. All those outlandish outfits and crazy powers that were so cool and revolutionary 10 years ago seem kind of lame and dated now. A cultural holdover from a previous generation, lingering beyond its time, struggling for relevance in a world that's moved on without it. So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for superhero flicks? Well, like I said earlier, there is still a way for superhero movies to carry on and turn a profit for the studios, but it has to be based on the understanding that the market is smaller and tougher now. If 500 million is the best you can hope for at the box office, then you need to start slashing your budgets big time. 100 million is where most superhero movies want to be sitting now, which means leaner and meaner productions, cutting down on expensive VFX and big name actors, and focusing more on quality writing. It really comes down to a choice between managed decline or complete implosion. It all sounds pretty obvious, because it is, but sometimes things that seem obvious to normal people like us seem to sail right over the heads of Hollywood executives. I don't know if they can or will change, but one thing's for sure, superhero movies as we've known them for the past 20 years are over. Whether this means the start of a new era or a complete collapse of the whole genre, only time will tell. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Might have yapped a little bit too much during the video, so I really do apologize for that. But yeah, interesting video. Hope that you guys liked it. If you haven't already, make sure you check out Critical Drinker's video, because that's actually where it came from. Also, my links down below for my live streams and my Twitch. And I'll see you all next time.